But why don't we look at what Irelia is running right now?
Let's do it. Up first, deck list here. This is Harukaze's Irelia. Let's see if there's any outliers or if it's pretty standard. I will say some of the outliers I'm noticing. Mind Splitter in the main deck. I don't see every Irelia pilot this. It's a big unit. Sometimes you don't have the amount of runes necessary to really pull this play off. You have to play very patient in the early game in order to set this up. And in the main deck, again, like sometimes maybe side deck it in if you know that you can play patient into certain matchups, but main deck means that I imagine that Harukaze actually plays a slightly slower game tempo of Irelia than we've seen others play that, which kind of de-ramped themselves earlier.
Absolutely. Now, before I got on my Fiora journey, I did play Irelia. So this does look pretty standard to me besides the Mind Splitter. I don't remember running any Desert's Call. I think that's also one that stands out to me. But everything else looks pretty freaking standard. That hard bargain, that not so fast, because you gotta make sure that you're able to protect Irelia if there's any spells that come out, even the Defy there. But you can even get a little aggressive if your Irelia is at a battlefield and use those charms to bring someone in while your Irelia is high and mighty, and go ahead and take down some of those opponent units. But you can also use the charm, never forget, to move a unit away from the battlefield, so you can move them back to base. It's a very versatile spell.
Sometimes late game, you just need to take the point. You don't have the might, you can just do that. But let's take a look at the opponent here, because I want to see what the Draven list is running. And again, looking for outliers if there are any, and immediately I'm seeing some fun ones. The Beast Below, this is a tech that been kind of a more recent adaptation I've seen within like the last 2 weeks, maybe month of play. Beast Below has been sneaking into Ezreal lists, sneaking into Draven lists. It's a very big unit that can also remove enemy units. When you play me, you return another friendly unit and an enemy unit to their owner's hands. If it's the only unit you have, you can't return another one, so you just return your opponents. But you can also just bounce back like an Overzealous Fan, a Tide Turner, a Gem Jammer, things that you'll still get use out of again later. Also, one Blood Rush. Important to note, we're on the one Blood Rush, one Cleave. A lot of folks are just on 2 Cleaves, but Blood Rush is a little more versatile, and like sometimes you need that extra 1 might, and you have the runes for it. So getting Assault 4 can make the math a little easier in some circumstances.
Wow, that's a lot, but also want to notate that switcheroo. I think it can always come in pretty handy.
Oh,
man.
I love the one of switcher. You know what? I was saying I play it in my Irelia. I think it's really funny in Draven. Just the one of. Because you like play enough Tide Turners, you hide those, you bait your opponent into getting comfortable, like, oh, it's Tide Turner, oh, it's Tide Turner. And then the one switcheroo, they just don't expect it. And especially against Irelia, you pay the deflect cost, but if that Irelia gets gigantic and attacks into like a Ferris Forerunner, even that's still worth switcherooing. So that might be very impactful in this game.
I truly expect it to be hidden somewhere and then reacted with later at some point. Look at that trophy, y'all. Let's make some noise. Oh.
Is that a floating rift right there? Look at that. That's beautiful.
Oh, you're being silly. My bad. I was like, is it? Is it floating? I had to lean in a little bit. No, let's get ready for our first semifinals game. Let's go. Hype it up. Hype it up. We're getting into game here. Oh my gosh. Let's go ahead and see this Irelia versus Draven. And we're getting the mirror matchup in terms of battlefields.
Zon Warrens versus Zon Warrens. I love hearing players give their insight as to why they play certain battlefields at certain times. We've heard some saying, oh, I play it second or third because it helps me seed my sideboard faster. I can just cycle through my deck more. Some say, no, it's the one that you go first because then you can go like Aspirant's Climb or Arena's Greatest, depending on if you're going first or second. And Zon Warrens is just kind of the catch-all to get the cards you need for the matchup that you want. Either way, we're going to see a lot of discarding and drawing cards in Game 1 of our semifinals.
Let's get it. I want to scream so bad, but I can't do that into the microphone.
Yeah, I mean, maybe away from the microphone.
Yeah, y'all might hear me scream in the background through Kangitz's mic at the end of this.
I'll face this way for just give me a tap on the shoulder if you feel like doing it. What are these sleeves going on here? Super Saiyan?
It's Dragon Ball Z, I do believe.
That's awesome.
I don't know what the rune sleeve is precisely, but it's on theme. We're going to go ahead and bring out that Gem Jammer for Koko Lopez. Oh.
Also, I believe the first time we're seeing them on feature match, or at least my first time casting them. Well, I'll say snuck their way onto one of Pastry and Charmer's. But, okay, let's talk about the starts here and what ideal starts are versus non-ideal. It's a decent start for Draven. You would rather something... Actually, now I'm trying to think like what other 2 mites that we saw on the list. I guess Tide Turn is also one that you don't really want early as much. You're not getting used out of the Gem Jammer, but it's still a unit that's going to score. Meanwhile, Irelia is just going for the Zonias. Typically, you would rather have like a GA here because now your own smaller units are going to eat up that Zonias unless it's something like a Stellar Corn. Like Stellar Corn would be ideal here, and there it is. Okay, nice.
There's the Stella coming out on that second turn there. And we're going to pass over to Koko. And we're going to ready that Gem Jammer. Let's see what we got here from Koko. We're going to move that Gem Jammer back, actually. Don't want to start any problems this early.
Yeah, and Lopez discarding the Falling Star because into the Irelia matchup, there's not so fast you have to worry about. Hard Bargain can also be really annoying. But in instances like this, it would get through the Zonias, but it also just deramps you so much and it would delay the Forerunner turn, which we are already going for. Looks like there's some thinking on Harukaze during the Conquer window here.
Yeah, not sure if we actually wanted to play that for a second, but we are going to keep that Kaisa there.
Oh, so we had to trigger the Zone Warrens still. So we just rewound briefly to trigger the Zone Warrens, and we still play the Ferris Forerunner. I like this type of play from Draven. Establish control at a board, especially once the Stellar Corn gets onto the field, because the worst case scenario is like they move to one, ride the wind over to the other, and then move back. So denying them the ability to move twice and conquer 2 points at the same time means that Harukaze's draw engine potential is slightly diminished, also only going to be able to score 1 point.
All right, and when I move, draw 1, and Stella has moved, we've gone ahead and gotten our first point on the board there. So we're kind of drawing and seeing what we want here.
I like discarding the Desert's Call. It doesn't get a lot of value in this matchup because it's only 4 might represented from 4 energy cost. You usually have better things to spend that energy on. It's good in other matchups, but I could imagine those even coming out of the deck for sideboard going into game 2 here. But let's see what Harukaze has in hand. I see a flash. I don't see anything else.
I see a flash.
Bargain,
I see a, I think I saw a Ride the Wind there.
Oh, okay. We're just going to play the Irelia for
We're bringing the Irelia out. Now, she is kind of safe, okay? We've got that Zonia's on the board already. Yeah. So she's not in complete danger as of yet. But just remember, whenever you choose this Irelia, you get to give it +1 might.
Yeah, anytime it's readied as well. So like a Ride the Wind could come in here. If a snipe spell comes through from Lopez, then that means you can just go for like a Discipline to try and buff it up. Again, not so fast available. There's a lot that Irelia has with 2 energy visible. Like so many of the spells are low cost. So Koko Lopez should expect something to be coming in here. The flash is the big one to just save the Stellar Corn. But if you move in and then they flash back, you at least win the combat still as the Draven, so you get to draw as well. And that's, I think, what Harukaze is just accepting, basically. It's like it's an unprotected Stellar Corn outside of the Zonias, but good chance that you're giving the Draven an additional resource here on top of being ahead in points.
Yes, and it looks like we're going to get the second Gem Jammer. Oh,
he's thinking.
We're thinking.
He's thinking.
You know, it's very important that we think these through. Like we are we're not playing them little games no more.
No.
We playing a big boy game.
And
and you know what? We're bringing out that Gem Jammer. So we're going to go ahead and put that into base here.
It'll give ganking to one of the units at the battlefield. It looks like he tapped the Ferris Forerunner, so I'm assuming it's that. That makes sense to me. You won't get the draw from the Conqueror, but it's just more safe to send the Forerunner into the Stellar Corn than it is the Kaisa.
Absolutely.
There's so many things that can get a 3 might above a 4 might in the Irelia deck. So throw into 6. Even if it's like a Defiant Dance, you die, like you get 2 mech tokens. So Koko Lopez is playing for the efficient move here, or more the defensive efficient move as opposed to the offensive efficient move.
And there we are. We're going to move that Ferris Forerunner over, and boom, there's the Rebuke. Good. The Rebuke is coming out for the 2 runes and 2 recycled. And we're rebuking that back to Koko's hand. All
Chaos Runes spent on Harukaze's side. We got to keep in mind if he's able to flip over 2 more or if he only flips 1. Because if it's only 1, Koko Lopez plays the next turn knowing that Rebuke is not possible if Irelia is on like 2 or 3 of them. But let's see what the next decision here is, because you can just try and play like your Draven, you're already at 4 points, so it's like pretty big. It's a 7. Yeah, honestly, I don't even hate that. Or you play the Darius. That's pretty good too.
Play the Darius. So Darius is going to come out and immediately go to the other Zon Warrens and take care of that Stella.
Yeah, and then I imagine move the Kai'Sa back. Actually, ooh. Okay, yeah, trigger the Zon Warrens, discard draw. And discards a Ferris Forerunner. Huh.
Oh, wow. That's a big boy to let go of, no?
Yeah, I mean, maybe it signals that there's more in Koko.
Something better?
Hand. Or maybe just more Ferris Forerunners, I'm thinking. Because, like, otherwise, that is such an efficient unit. Even in this matchup, I feel like it's pretty good. Especially when one Rebuke's already gone. But the Zonias did save the Celicorn, so Harukaze has the ability to move that around still and get some draws. But with Koko winning the combat, he got an additional draw. That's always the danger of playing into Draven. He just gets advantage for playing the game.
Absolutely, and I mean, if we take a look at the board state, oh, we're hiding. I mean, wow. Do you think?
Secret.
Oh.
We don't know.
It was hidden.
It was a switcheroo.
It was a switcheroo.
I'm gonna be really quiet about it. Don't want anyone to hear.
Yes, we don't want anyone to know.
This could be big. It's a 5-might unit. Hiding switcheroo with a 5-might unit is very uncommon, but into Irelia specifically, if you're trying to hit in on that Draven or that Darius, you're probably going to go a little bigger. You're at least going to read like, okay, so I have to be over 7, because if it's tight turn, then I want to be an 8. And then you go in with 8, and then it's like, okay, thanks for the stats.
Exactly.
Especially if it's Defiant Dance, because then it like lowers the Darius and buffs the Irelia, and yeah.
All right, so that Stella's actually going to move in for a point. So we're 2-5 here in favor of Koko. Irelia at this point will basically always be that 5-might because she's going to be readied at the beginning of every turn from here on out.
Unless she doesn't move.
Unless she doesn't move.
That has happened. Sometimes you ride the Winter in, or like ride Winter away, and then at the start of your turn, she's not ready. You're like, oh.
Oopsie.
Whoops. Not like I'm speaking from experience or anything.
Well, the Zonias did go away, but the GA is coming to play. Going to choose her, move her in.
That is counted up.
And
6
she's
plus
protected.
1 is 7. So that's 7 attacking in on the 5. Multiple runes showing, but Switcheroo would have to pay a deflect cost, but it will at least force something else out of Harukaze.
And are we going to react with that? We are. So we're going to switcheroo these mites real quick. And that 7-might is going over to Dariana.
I almost wonder if like Koko could have also sent the Gem Jammer in just to bait out even more. And it didn't matter. Hard Bargain will just stop that play in its tracks. Very efficient. There were no additional energy up for Koko.
Unfortunate, just no runes to be able to pay that hard bargain.
Yeah. You can always exhaust 2 to counter it, but you got to have 2 to exhaust.
You got to have
Now we're in an interesting position. I don't often see Irelia this far ahead on runes. You're a full 2 ahead of the Draven right now because of the hide cost, the deflect cost, the Darius cost, and if we play the Draven on top of it all, like that's going to deramp even more. So Koko, typically, like I think of the Draven as something that can, match or even further ramp through the Irelia, but we're seeing Harukaze also had the Mind Splitter, has been playing a much more slow game, is only, I believe, recycled 1 time for that Guardian Angel equip. And that allows you to play a longer game with things like Mind Splitter. So Harukaze was just giving up early points, accepting, yep, you're going to be ahead early. Now I'm going to keep 2 units out there with 3 runes up. Again, kind of scary proposition against the Draven decks.
Absolutely, because we've got those 3 runes up, so you're not sure what can be responded with. But it does look like we're going to take some type of action here to start some type of showdown. We can't just let Harukaze just start racking up these points. I do believe.
Koko's playing the game right now.
Yeah.
Koko's ready to go, and you're already ahead in points, so you really only need to take 1 of these battlefields. I would go for the Stellacorn. The Irelia's got the Guardian Angel, and the Stellacorn's just going to get more card advantage. Now, the problem is, like, something like Flash could be available. Hopefully, Koko has his own hard bargain to play through that, and we are going to go for the Stellacorn.
All right, so we're moving in both the Kai'Sa and the Gem Jammer over to this zone where Stella is occupying, and we're passing that priority over to Haru.
So what's in it? We saw the Flash already. That's, I think, the best thing that Harukaze could play. You're giving up points. You're going to give them a draw, but you get a draw, and you protect the Stellar Corn to get you more advantage later. Like, if you have Stellar Corn, it doesn't really matter if you're giving the Draven draws on combat because you're going to get more off the Stellar Corn yourself. I guess Kaisa will also get one, so that's basically 2 draws you're giving. Yeah, well, I don't...
I think I see 2 Ride the Winds. Am I tripping? And I do see the flash.
Ride the Wind would be very interesting. If you send that Irelia over there to try and clear the Kaisa and the Gem Jammer, you win the combat. I think the only way Draven could win that at that point.
Boom.
Yep, here we go.
Here's the 2 and the 1 recycled for the Ride the Wind. Let's go ahead.
But now do we move the Irelia or the Stellar Corn? Because we could just save the Stellar Corn.
Right.
At that point, I think we just flash, though. Oh.
We're going to move her back to base and draw off of the move.
I don't see the reason to do that over the flash. Because we just recycled a power, and flash would have accomplished the exact same thing. And if they had a hard bargain, then you didn't, recycle. Interesting decision. I feel like Ride the Wind's a little more versatile, especially in the middle late game when you have the Irelia already set up. You can get around the battlefield more, and also if you use a flash instead, then you're not, losing that power cost. But again, Harukaze, I would take a guess as a better Irelia player. So I usually still defer to the expertise of the players on stage.
I even wonder, like, maybe we're just saving that flash in case we have 2 units that are in trouble, maybe, because you can use it for 2 rather than just the 1.
The thing about Irelia is once you have the draw engine and you get enough draws from Stellar Corn and you have the Irelia, you kind of just play with the Irelia. Like, you don't really need to have 2 units for the rest of the game. Like, even if Stellar Corn dies at that point, you kind of have what you need to play with Irelia and 5 cards in hand. But the Draven's just going to keep establishing a board and Tide Turner to save the Kaisa. And not even playing the Overzealous Fan at the battlefield, just keeping it at base. So not going to try any attempts to hold at that others on Warrens. Koko Lopez understands that they are ahead on points, and even if Harukaze holds and then conquers this other one, Koko Lopez is still in a position to win on the next turn with a big push.
Absolutely. Also played that Noxus helpful into base. So we've kind of got a lot of might over here on the side for Koko. But we're about to see how do we want to tackle the situation at hand. The Irelia comes in ready. We get the additional might. And we've got all of our runes ready. Is on guard flash? I can't tell.
Well, we know that there's the flash. That's what looks to be at the front of the hand there. Yeah, I really haven't gotten many good looks at Harukaze's hand. There isn't on guard. I think there's a discipline.
I do see the discipline as well.
And I think another Ride the Wind. I think you're right that there were 2 Ride the Winds in the hand. So I guess maybe that's another reason why Harukaze would use that as opposed to the flash, just because then you have options in the future.
Yeah.
You can choose between the 2, but now we have 1 less rune to work with this turn. Let's see what they do. There's 7 available. And Stellar Corn's going to move into the safe battlefield just to get a draw. So they're just using this basically as a draw 1. Now we will see the Ride the Wind. And important to note, no Rebuke on Koko's turn because there's only 1 available Chaos Rune for Harukaze right now.
Wow, that's a lot of drawing that we just did off of that Stella. And then we're going to immediately on guard to make sure we clear that Zon Warrens.
Okay, nice. Good use of Stellar Corn. Should be readied right now. Or did they move him back to base?
No, they moved it back to base and then went into the Zon.
Interesting that they did that as opposed to moving into the Zon and then back to base. Because now, I guess it's holding it. It's going to force something from Koko to go up there.
Yep.
And with like an on guard and discipline in hand, maybe you're trying to fight through all of that. But I imagine Koko's in a really good spot. Harukaze needs 2 turns to win. Koko can win this turn and has so much gas as the Draven. I'm vastly favoring Koko in this current board state.
Yes, it looks like it, but there are a couple of runes up on the side of Haru, so I won't count them out.
It's always scary attacking into an Irelia. Like, there's so many.
She can get big.
It is ridiculous how many things Irelia can have access to, but one that you're not going to expect is like a Ride the Wind defensively for Irelia to jump over. You've already seen 2 of those. Also, Irelia wasn't even ready if that happens. So you're reading on guards, you're reading disciplines, you're reading the worst could be the Defiant Dance, because that's going to not only increase their might but lower yours. So you really are basically assuming, like, again, in situations like this, if you're going for the win, you almost always have to assume worst case scenario. It's like, okay, if they have 3 Defiant Dances and an on guard, can I beat that? If the answer is yes, then absolutely 100% do the line, because like that's worst case scenario. It can't be Rebuke. There's not enough Chaos Runes. And then if you don't have enough to get through worst case scenario, you kind of like dial it back like, okay, 80% worst case. Can I beat that? Is that math worth it to go for a push, or do I play patient because Harukaze needs 2 turns to win? Do I just try and like take 1 battlefield and hold it? These are the types of decision trees that I love seeing the top players go through. We're going to send 10 might into the Stellar Corn. A single Defiant Dance would not be enough. You'd have to commit multiple tools here to keep the Stellar Corn alive.
And I'm not going to lie to you, I don't think I see a single Defiant Dance in that man's hands. And that's going to be the best resource at sometimes, because not only do you get the +2, but you get the minus.
Oh, he's letting it go. I was about to say it might be a flash angle. Just save the Stellar Corn, get another draw. But I guess we're saving the flash for the Irelia because we have no way to currently get back over there for Harukaze. But Koko is going for the option B that I presented, which is just go and conquer 1 battlefield and then try and like reinforce that. I imagine that, oh, wait, we discarded another Forerunner. So maybe it's not the reinforce. That's like one of the best cards to reinforce a battlefield. Unless you just have enough spells in hand. Maybe a Darius if you want to push into the Irelia.
I saw we just sectioned the runes into 4 and 4, and now we've got the 2 and the... Okay, like we keep pressing them to the side. I'm not sure if those runes mean anything specifically.
One of the best ways for Draven to hold points is either Ferris Forerunner, because it's just a big stat stick, or multiple Overzealous Fans. So we already have 1 in base. You can just move that up. Maybe another Overzealous Fan. Oh, wait, you know what I just remembered? Oh, no, we already saw this switcheroo, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I was going to say, what if it's switcheroo? No, it's going to be Overzealous Fan going into the battlefield. And even if the Draven just passes without playing anything else there, like all of these runes up is scary because they have rebukes, they have spinning axes, they have a lot of things that can, you know, try and reinforce this. Some are even on Rengar's. I don't think that Koko Lopez was. So I'm imagining at least something coming down here.
Yes, and it looks like we're going to go ahead and exhaust 3 and play a Rek'Sai.
Oh, we can play our Draven Showboat from the Chosen Champion zone.
We've got 5 exhausted.
Accelerate it right now.
And
but
yes,
it's still going to be just an 11 might unit, or sorry, 10 might unit, as it's 3 base might.
Oh, we've decided to go another route. Instead, we're going to exhaust and bring in another Gem Jammer here.
Maybe Nox is hopeful. It's 2. Okay, I didn't quite catch the art. You're right, Gem Jammer. So this, to me, signals that Koko is saying, yeah, it doesn't necessarily matter to win this next turn. I just need to force Harukaze to use resources to get me off the point, because you always have the Rek'Sai with the Draven Showboat aggressive play. The danger of this type of line is that 1 charm can kind of, you know, kneecap that game plan. Because if Irelia can clear the point, and then also charm the Rek'Sai in, that means you can't accelerate the Draven Showboat afterwards. So there's always a cost to be paid for any decision tree you go down. Koko has made his decision, and the turn has passed. If Koko holds, that's game 1.
And honestly, I can try and deduce this. I'm not sure if this is totally true, but we did see Koko fidget with both the Draven Legend, the Gem Jammer, and finally the Tide Turner, and then hit a card at that battlefield, which makes me assume it's that Tide Turner.
Which I believe we know it is, because the only hitting cards were Switcheroo and 3 Tide Turners in the deck. If I remember the deck list correctly, maybe it's something that surprises us, but I'm reading that that's going to be a Tide Turner, so it'll be 2 extra might, which would make this a total of 12 defending. Overzealous Fan has the option now to move back the Irelia. So we flash, we saved that. We didn't save the Stellar Corn. Instead, we're going to flash back the Irelia, send her in. She did not ready for turn, so it's only 1 might from the targeting of flash. That is currently a 6 might Irelia. And it looks like Harukaze actually passed priority to Koko Lopez. This is something that Aurelius can do. You just chew through the GA and then can even just play another one, equip it, use your Irelia Blade Dancer Legend to then re-ready the Irelia, go in again. So it's just kind of like a way to hit multiple times. You're going to give the Draven some draws, but it's a way to chew through that, that hold.
Absolutely. It looks like we're trying to decide how to deal with this at the moment, because I don't think we want to do any Tide Turning quite
Do we see what Koko has in hand? I haven't really spotted anything.
No, it's been really close to chest so far.
Number one thing you could do is throw out a Rebuke and just kind of hope they don't have a hard bargain or a not so fast. That's a little scary. Like, an equipment is a safer move if you have a spinning axe, because there's really no way for the Irelia to interact with it. But it looks like we're actually just... actually, you know what? That wasn't priority. I think that was the Overzealous Fan trigger, because you have to trigger any defend abilities before an action window opens. So we're past the Overzealous Fan window. Koko did not use Overzealous Fan on the Irelia, and now the
Defiant Dance
is coming down.
It's coming down. We are -2 and +2 the Irelia. It looks like the -2 is on the Kaisa, I do believe. Yes, thank you so much, Judge, for that clarification there. And we're going to see the flash come out from Koko.
So this is a total of 8 defending might against the 9 attacking. So Flash will save those resources and just give up the point. Yeah, Harukaze knows that Hard Bargain would blank the Flash and it can clear everything on there. And that is a big swing for Harukaze.
All right, so those are totally off the map altogether. And now Haru has taken full control of not only this battlefield, but kind of the game.
So we haven't dealt with the Rek'Sai. If a Charm comes out here, I think that's just GG. I don't think Koko, unless you have like a Darius, or maybe like an accelerated Kai'Sa or some way to like just get more might on the field that can go in, which to be fair, Draven does have a lot of access to those types of things, but you're at least getting rid of the known threat. No Charm, that means that the Draven Showboat from the Champion Zone can come and accelerate it, because this Rek'Sai allows any unit not played from hand to enter with Accelerate. Now, that's going to be a 10 might Draven that I imagine will hit the board at some point on this turn.
We do have 3. We do have 3 runes still up, so.
Yep. Harukaze has tools. He can try and do stuff.
Yeah, there's tools to deal with this.
But the Defiant Dance was used, and that means that at worst case scenario, there's 2. So again, anytime you get information like this, you can start to chip away at the worst case scenario situations when you're doing your math. Now, worst case scenario would be 2 Defiant Dance and 1 on guard. So that's, what, 10 might delta? So as long as you get above even that. Okay.
And there's the not so fast for the Rebuke, trying to get that back into the hand, but we're just
Hard Bargain.
Oh.
He can counter the counter, and that's going to be game. Yep, Harukaze immediately scoops up. The Hard Bargain to stop the not so fast is enough. Koko had another unit. We did not even need to see the Draven Showboat. It just came down to the spells.
Got the counter for the counter.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to go ahead and move on to the next game. Raven Bloom Conservatory for game 2 on the side of Haru. And Aspirant's Climb. So we're climbing. We're climbing this
Whenever you're going second, or assume you're going second, you know, your opponent still gets to choose, but most players will always pick going first. So when you assume you're going second, Aspirant's Climb will just delay the game. Your opponent can get set up first, but then the game goes a little longer. I will say, as an Irelia, I don't think you really mind the game going later, because it also buys you time to set up your field, and you don't have to feel as pressure to get in there super fast. So, and also going first, you're often on an odd number of points anyway, so it's like, you know, if you conquer and then like get on the other field, you usually would be like to 3 if you conquer, hold, conquer, but now you're at 4. So it's interesting to see how that math kind of changes things, but the bigger thing is that Draven can get bigger now on the side of Koko Lopez. Draven Showboat gains might for every point you have, and Aspirant's Climb just means that they can get to even larger numbers than normal.
Alrighty, well, let's get into this game number 2. We're getting started here. 2 runes coming out for Irelia, and we're immediately starting with that tie turner. All right, stack deck on the side of Koko. Going ahead and looking through what cards we might want to add.
Tide Turner start for Irelia. Again, when we're looking at ideal starts, it's like, it can get you a point, but it doesn't really do anything on its own, and Draven kind of just chews it up. So there's the stack deck, and let's see what the first unit is. Overzealous Fan.
Overzealous Fan. So we could go ahead and go in and get a point, and maybe Koko might move to the other battlefield, but instead we're going to bring in that Stella Corn. So we're going to start drawing.
Eventually. Now, do we send the Tide Turner in? because now we're tapped out. Okay, we're going to go for the Red and Bloom Conservatory. This will get us a point. And again, being on odd points isn't bad into the Aspirant's Climb. I realized I kind of tripped over my words at the beginning. What I meant to say is it's similar to like the Arena's Greatest, where being on an odd number of points scored in early turns isn't a big deal, because you can still score. If you're at like 1 point now, it's still now 4 turns of double scores for the rest of the game. So if you're able to kind of like score 2 on a turn, which is the max you can typically get, you're still able to end on the same clock as opposed to being on an odd number when it's like a normal battlefield state. But all that's to say that I think Harukaze is going to opt to just look for a spell dig, so that hopefully, even if you lose combat to the Draven, you can get a +1 as well with the Raven Bloom Conservatory, while having a good kind of score ramp right now.
And boom, why don't we just go ahead and accelerate a Rek'Sai into this battlefield? Go ahead and deal with the Tide Turner. Make sure that no hold points are collected. Yeah. And we still have another unit that can go and collect that second point. Do we want to do that, Koko?
It's kind of tough, because like if you go in there and then the Stellarcorn jumps at you, you either lose your unit or you have to bounce the Stellarcorn back, which gives another draw. So I actually don't know if Koko is supposed to send this in.
But he does it anyway. Okay. We're going to try and get that point here, and it's going to go through. So we've got 2 to the 1, and now it's time for the response from Haru. Do we want to go over there and take care of that overzealous fan?
Also, I didn't see what spell was added to hand, but Harukaze did get a spell off the Raven Bloom. I was looking over at Koko's field when it happened to happen so fast, but he got something off of it. So there's the Stellarcorn Herder going in, getting a free clear. Koko says, yep, you can just kill my unit. I'm not going to give you the free draw. So Koko's opting for sacrificing units in order to get points. We don't see a lot of that at the top tables.
All right, so we are actually going to go ahead and equip a Boots of Swiftness, which will give that Stella ganking. And I think we're about to tap our legend to ready her. And you know what happens. Bye-bye, Rek'Sai.
Oh, switcheroo. Oh, wait.
Oh, no, we're just going to... There's nothing to switcheroo.
Was it not hidden at the Raven Bloom? Did I miss something there?
No, he drew that.
The Raven Bloom Conservatory.
Yeah, yeah.
That makes way more sense. So that's a future switcheroo.
That's a future switcheroo. So we know it's in hand. So yeah, Stella is going to go ahead and clear that battlefield, get the point, and then we're going to get a Sand Soldier played off of Desert's Call.
Also, this is the fun little minigame. We either count how many times the Stellarcorn Herder gets to move this game.
Okay.
I have a running theory.
Okay.
If Stellarcorn Herder moves 5 times, you cannot possibly beat the Irelia. That is too many resources.
Okay.
I think it's at 2 right now.
Yes, we are at 2. We have the base going to the Aspirant's Climb and then over to the Haru. So I'll give you your 2. I'm going to also leave it to you to keep that tally running.
I'm gonna keep trying, and I don't know why I put this on myself, because I already forget things all the time that happened like 2 turns ago.
All right, we're bringing in the Ferris Forerunner over on the side of Koko Lopez. I do think I spotted another Rek'Sai in hand.
Ooh.
I don't know if he's running 2 for sure, but I do think I saw that.
And so what happened basically here is that we got to see a reason. That's 3 moves. We got to see a reason why a lot of players choose to not go into combat as early to score points. Koko lost both units, had to reestablish a board, and went basically, I guess, even, because you scored a point on the Conqueror winning combat and then lost a unit. Got a spell off a Raven Blue Conservatory, lost a unit. So essentially you're like lost 2 but gained 2. But still, like the Stellarcorn is just getting so many more. Look at this hand size.
Yeah, I think he's got just so much to deal with everything. Goodness gracious. Desert's Call is going to come out. I do think that the Stella is just getting so much value here. You're not only getting the points, you've not only got the 5 might, but you're also drawing every time you're scoring. It's just so much value. And then we're going to ride the win.
Move it to the other battlefield. We already scored there, so we're not going to score, but it's just to draw it ready and then back to base to draw again. So it's just an efficiency for draw engine here, and that is now 5.
Yep.
5 moves from Celicorn Herder, and that, again, I think it's critical. Like, you reach a point where you just have too many cards. Like, Draven will not have enough answers into this hand of Harukaze. He's doing a little wiggle.
We don't have to guess what Haru has in hand. We can just assume it's the whole entire deck at this point.
Remember when I was like, you have to kind of assume worst case scenario? This is worst case scenario.
Yeah,
like,
it's starting to get a little scary. That's why you have to deal with that Celicorn early before she starts giving just a little too much value. So we're moving in. The 6 might is on the board with the I'm gonna start calling it the Ferrari runner. I don't know. Yeah, I kind of like that. Oh, man.
I don't know. Are we allowed to?
Rek'Sai does come in.
Damien, can we say Ferrari?
We'll check that. The second Rek'Sai is coming in to play for Koko, so I was correct in seeing that in hand. And we've got 3 Sand Soldiers on the side of Haru in base.
Okay. More draws. 6 moves on the Celicorn Herder. I believe 8 is the record that I counted, because I did a whole like analyst breakdown of one. They got up to 8 moves on one Celicorn. I think that's the record to beat for Harukaze, and given that hand, I think that you're going to beat it. You only need 2 more moves, and this is why I think it's just like such a good card.
Oh, and the Rebuke making the Ferrari Forerunner possibly go back to hand. I do think there is a not so fast on the side of Koko, though. I'm not going to lie to you. I want to see if it's going to come out.
Oh, okay. We're just going to game 2 or game 3 rather. Yeah.
We're going to game 3.
Koko had just fallen so far behind.
Yeah, it was tough.
At that point, like, you really don't have a clean avenue back into the game. Save time. I guess we're not even saving time because there's no time limit here in the semifinals. But save mental power.
Yeah, mental wins games, y'all.
It's still a resource. Your mental energy, and because if you win this, you got to go into a finals as well. So the worst thing you can do is just tire yourself out in a doomed game state.
Yeah.
Also, I have a nice fix.
Okay.
If you can't say the car name that you've been saying, you can say Ferrari. Nah, it doesn't have the same ring to it. Because I was thinking Forerunner and Fair.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you know what? As I said it, I knew it wasn't.
Sometimes you got to test it. Sometimes you got to test drive it.
You got to test it live in front of everybody listening.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. they knew too. The moment it came out, I think there was a collective cringe. Targon Speak versus Sunken Temple is going to be the Game 3 Battlefield matchups, as Koko Lopez should get the decision to go first, and I'm fully imagining that the Draven will take advantage of that, taking that first turn.
And yeah, Koko is really going through making sure this deck is shuffled, because we really want to make sure we're pulling the cards that we need to pull. We don't want the same cards back to back to back by an insufficient shuffle. We're playing for the win right now. Okay, this is game 3 of semifinals. We're going to finals if we win. Lock the frick in. So we need that deck properly shuffled here.
And you need to hope for the right draws. I honestly don't think we've seen like the ideal turn 1 from either deck yet. In my opinion, the ideal turn 1 for Irelia is Guardian Angel. I mean, Zonius is fine, but like GA is the better ideal start because it doesn't get wasted on something like a Tide Turner. And if you're going to send out the Celicorn, you kind of want the GA on anyway because then you can ready it, move it around. Draven, the ideal start would be probably the Overzealous Fan, I'd say. He's like that turn 1 big play because you get to play it down, move in, and then kind of deny your opponent from conquering a point afterwards. You hold a little bit better. Let's see, game number 3.
This is it, guys. We are going to know our finalists for Riftbound Regionals in Atlanta after this game right here. We're going to Targon's Peak. We're going to Sunken Temple. Let it begin.
Both of these decks, like both of these battlefields, both of these decks can take great use of both of these battlefields.
Yeah.
So I'm imagining both these battlefields will be greatly contested in this game 3. Let's see what Koko's got in store for us.
All right. We're getting the official fist bump, and we're starting nice and strong with a Gem Jammer coming out from Koko.
Again, not the 100% ideal start, but it's a unit. And as long as Draven gets a 2-drop, they can play the board.
Absolutely. And the Tide Turner is going to be the response on the side of Haru. We're passing turn. Straight back to Draven. Yes. Give me that. Yes. Yes. This is what I want to see.
Very nice.
Stack deck. Okay. Yep.
I think it's almost always the Spinning Axe here. I love Spinning Axe into Irelia specifically because they can't use things like Defy. they can't use things like Hard Bargain. It's an equipment, not a spell. And I don't know if that's actually what was picked. That camera angle, I loved it, but it was not as helpful as I thought.
It was a little dark. It was a little dark. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I still love the angle, and I'd low-key love it every time.
All right, there's 2 runes up. We're gonna send the Gem Jammer into Targon's Peak, so we'll at least have 2 runes to play with. And I think that was a Noxus Hopeful added off the second snagged deck.
Because of the lesser cost, we can go ahead and play that out to make sure that we've got some units on the board.
Yep. Give us a turn for the next, or a play for the next turn.
Yep. Boots of Swiftness already coming out. The 3 are going to be exhausted and 1 recycled. We're going to go ahead and equip that to the Tide Turner, send that in. What can the Gem Jammer do about this 4 might unit?
Harukaze is basically saying bet.
Yeah, like do something about it.
A spinning axe actually goes really hard here for Koko. Not going to opt for it. Maybe didn't take it. I feel like you could, well, when there's one showing, I guess On Guard and Discipline are both on the table, and then you lose the Spinning Axe for future plays. But now the Targon's Peak was uncontested. You're guaranteed going to be playing into even more runes, so yeah, that's tough.
That's tough, but another Tide Turner does come out to play on the side of Haru, so we've got more.
You didn't want to swap them. You didn't want to swap the Tide Turner.
You didn't want to swap them? That would have been really fun.
They could have high-fived on the way.
Yeah, exactly.
Places. That's in my head.
Look, he's literally high-fiving right now.
He's high-fiving away a blast of energy.
Yeah, that's crazy. Turning the tides, truly. But
I get, because he turns places with another person.
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
I got there. Noxus Hopeful's going to go into the temple, and we're just going to play the Forerunner. So Koko's going to opt to try and go for a more of a hold strategy here. The weakness of this is always going to be Rebuke. Harukaze had it last game. Does he have another one right now?
I can't quite see what's in hand for Haru at the moment, so I can't speculate whatsoever.
Can we get that shoulder cam to go behind Haru and just kind of like
back and forth.
It over? Yeah.
Just back and forth.
You know what we should do? We should get like a glass part of the table that they have to put their hand down when they're not looking at it, and then we
have a camera up. So I like it.
They do that a lot too, where they put the hand down.
Yeah.
See, I'm thinking.
Well, Stella is coming out, and we saw last game that was a real problem. So I feel like we might have to shut this down. I also could see us using that Tide Turner as a sacrifice just to get the Boots of Swiftness off of the Tide Turner and onto the Stella. Really interested to see if that's going to be a play in the future.
Danger, I mean, maybe against other decks. Against Draven, you're just giving them a free draw if you ever run in there. I mean, you would trade with the Noxus Hopeful, so at least you get 1 unit off, but generally you don't want to give the free draws to Draven, as now the Gem Jammer will give ganking to Ferris Forerunner.
Oof, and that is going to move over, collect another point, and it looks like we've got more in store. There's going to be 5 exhausted, and we're bringing in the Draven.
Okay, this is going to be a pivotal play, pivotal turn for Harukaze. Koko has committed all... Oh, wait, no, there's actually 2 runes left because we conquer Targon's Peak. So Targon's Peak's always going to make this a really interesting board state because you can never truly tap out as long as you're conquering.
All right, so Stella's going in. We're drawing, and we're getting an additional point here, keeping it kind of close, but Koko still has the lead. What can we do?
2 Tide Turners in the back. We did not get a draw off the Sunken Temple because we didn't buff up the Stellacorn Herder to be a big enough might. I was thinking maybe there's plays where you go like On Guard or you know, like Discipline to buff up, get the draw, and then charm something in, but I maybe not expecting that anymore. Instead, just the draw off the Stellacorn. But all runes up, still a lot of options for Harukaze. We can establish the Irelia. We can try and, you know, deal with that Ferris Forerunner if we really want. We can try and slow things down, because at least this next turn, because Koko's going to hold at the Targon's Peak. No, we're going to go in. Okay, so Defiant Dance plus the Tide Turner. This is a gambit, because now, even if we take this, this gives Koko the opportunity to take it back and then ready 2 runes, as opposed to holding and then not having the opportunity to conquer for two runes at the end of the next turn. Might have been able to delay some of Koko's options, but Harukaze says, I'm ready to get aggressive. I'm here to fight. I got a lot of resources in hand. They're burning a hole in my pocket. Let's spend them.
Alrighty, let's see what kind of response we're going to get. There was a not so fast in hand for Koko, or not so fast. Hard bargain, I do believe.
If you do that, I think that Harukaze just pays it easily. Koko, that's not enough to deal with it. And even if you lose this Ferris Forerunner, you get 2 mech tokens. That one I'm definitely not going to sing because we will get copyright struck. But this is another one of those things where as the Draven player, you probably... Okay, now you get it?
Yes.
Yeah. Can't hold it back anymore. Irelia is coming out as you at least dealt with 1 Defiant Dance. So that's information. Worst case scenario oftentimes is the Defiant Dance can be chained multiple times. Now there's only 2 available in Harukaze's deck to be played for the rest of the game.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and bring out the Irelia for Haru. So the real fun is about to start, but we don't really have anything to protect her on the board. Not to say that we don't have anything to protect her in hand.
There's not a lot that Draven can do to hit things in the back row. It'd really just be Falling Star. And that can be not so fasted. You can also like Discipline, and then that targets Irelia. She goes up to 7, so then the Falling Star is not enough to kill. Plus, you have to pay double deflect cost. So like, it's almost in this specific matchup, it's actually very safe to play Irelia into the back. There's not much that Draven's gonna be able to do to interact with that, and that's just kind of like something Draven has to accept in the matchup. Is like, yep. Irelia is just going to be there. Like,
just a small threat.
Yeah, pretty big threat, but one that you can't really deal with until it's at a battlefield.
Right. Well, I think we're going through the motions here, trying to see how to set up the board in a way that we can deal with it. And we're going to go ahead and move that Noxus Hopeful into the Stella, but Haru is going to respond with an On Guard.
First On Guard. And there's the spinning axe.
And there's the spinning axe from Draven.
That's going to give 7 might attacking in on 5. Does Harukaze have anything else? How important is the Celicorn? We didn't hit critical mass, Reagan.
Oh, another Defiant Dance. So we're not only going to +2 our Stella, but we're going to -2 that Noxus Hopeful.
If this goes through, it's 7 defending on 5 attacking. Hard Bargain is in the hand of Koko. If you double Hard Bargain, Harukaze cannot stop it. You deal with the Stellarcorn. I don't hate that from Koko. You have a lot of units still available to play with. You're going to be ahead on the clock. You can go into the Tide Turner with the rest, or even just the Draven. Chew through more resources.
Oh,
gonna let it go?
Let it go. So that spinning axe will head back to base, and Stella is going to be victorious here.
Yeah, I mean, the other argument, the counter argument to my point is that now you can just equip the spinning axe to something else. It's Death Knell. It only dies at the start of your beginning phase. So if it dies during your turn when you're already playing, like, you can keep using it. You can keep equipping it to stuff and going in. So Koko's instead opting to kind of take back that resource. It's still a 7 might Stellarcorn defending, but the Draven plus the spinning axe might be able to deal with that. Let's see what Koko does. He actually has a lot of lines left available.
He does. There's so much readied on his side of the table right now. It looks like we might move this Gem Jammer somewhere. But we've also got a lot of might just on that Stella now because of the previous combat.
Yeah, he's deciding where to put the spinning axe. It's actually going to go on the mech token, attacking 6 on Tide Turner. That's 4 defending. The math here, it's like an On Guard or Discipline crashes. At this point, there's 2 Defiant Dances that have been used. So you're kind of mathematically assuming that you won't have to deal with that for the rest of the game. It can still be part of that worst case scenario calculations that I've talked about before, but in general, with 2 gone, like, that would be a statistical improbability if there's a 3rd in the hand of Harukaze. And now we're sending in 8 might Draven. We conquered a point, put it above the Stellarcorn, and there it is.
On guard from Haru. Now, he did just, and then the hard bargain from Koko to make sure that that doesn't go through. It deals with the Stella, and I was just about to say, Haru probably isn't too mad about that Tide Turner because now he can equip the boots on either to the Irelia or more likely the Stella, but Now the Stella's gone.
It was worth waiting.
It was.
Koko was absolutely correct to wait on that hard bargain. Hitting it there when Harukaze cannot respond with more exhausted runes, and then you only have to hard bargain once. You still keep up 4 runes. We readied 2 from the Targon's Peak and had 2 available as well. Koko is at 5 points up on the timer and holding 2 strong. The danger is that Harukaze still has the Irelia, but like, what was that? 2 Defiant Dances, 2 on guards.
Yeah.
That is 4 of the available buffs, and especially the cheaper buffs. And the Stellarcorn's gone too. So like the draw engine's offline. Harukaze, unless you can get like another Stellarcorn to keep drawing or just draw into all of your other buffs, like your counter spells aren't going to be as useful. You got to get big enough to deal with this Draven. That's a 10 might Draven. A 5 might Irelia without enough buffs is just not going to do it.
Am I tripping, or is that 9 might?
It's a 6, and then, oh, you're right, a 10. Or, sorry, 9.
9. It's okay. Oh, my gosh, and that is the handshake. Koko Lopez, the glorious executioner, is going to finals.
No way to stop it. Koko can hold for 2. Harukaze says, I didn't have the gas in my hand. The hold attempt was too expensive with all of the on guards, all the Defiant Dances. Victory, CTCG Koko Lopez. Congratulations, and a well-played Game 3.
I freaking love to see it. And you could tell each individual calculation there, the discipline, not the discipline from Haru that he actually played, but the discipline from Koko that he displayed during that game was absolutely immaculate.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Talk about not having patience, man. I don't know if I would be able to do that.
Yeah, he saw a much better line than I did. That's showing the experience of a Draven player saying, okay, it doesn't matter if I lose this Noxus Hopeful going in with the Spinning Axe. I can still equip the Spinning Axe.
Yeah.
Get a really efficient take on the other side, and then that gets the Draven big enough to crash over, because then he's an 8 might attacking the 7 might Stellarcorn, and you still have the hard bargain. There's not enough energy up on the other side to pay the hard bargain cost, so you can get a really cheap hard bargain, still have a lot of runes up, have massive hold, and again, when Irelia spends 4 of the 1-cost spells to try and hold and is barely able to do it, doesn't even hold at the end of the turn, it's like, ooh,
yeah,
that's
it feels
painful.
bad. And that's the whole thing about Irelia. Like, you do have these spells to get big, you do have the spells to counter things, but when you're recycling so much, you look at your board and you're like, oh no, I'm kind of out of resources here.
Yeah. And you know what's really funny? Old Draven wouldn't have been able to do that. That's just a 4 might unit.
But
now, the game probably would have got a little different if that one was still available.
Just a little bit.
But it's showing the Draven Showboat still has great uses. It's like, it gets so massive. You get this giant stat stick that can just go in and start, taking over battlefields. And Draven didn't always have access to that type of stuff before, and now it does, and it shows what it's able to push through. It's really cool.
Absolutely. I mean, making that Draven get up to 9 might, like just those little turns from conquering, and it helped him so much in the end there to secure that victory.
Yeah, and again, I just love the sequencing of it, because I was looking at the might of the Draven like, it's not big enough on its own to really contest the 7 might, but yeah, just go for the other one instead.
Boom.
And at first I was like, oh, you're putting the Spinning Axe not on the Draven, because that's how it would get in, and then you start, the gears, I could feel them, rotating in my own head of like, oh, I'm getting it. This is a really cool line that Koko was able to find there. And again, it just shows skill expression. I love top skill expression in card games. It's so exciting when you see these people. That's an earned finals right there.
Yeah.
I don't think there was any shenanigans going on. Like, that Irelia had a pretty good setup, really good defensive tools to try and keep the Stellarcorn alive, and the Draven just sequenced it in a really optimal way to push through and take that win. I love it when that's how decks get the win, because it's not like they just like drew the one of out or something like that. It's like, no, they just sequenced incredibly effectively.
Absolutely. And the time was taken through each of those sequences. I know we were waiting just a little bit, but it showed that it proved necessary to really pull through that win. I also want to say that I think that maybe that Stella in the second game really helped that Irelia to get
to
those
5.
cards.
That's the critical mass.
It got it
5
there.
times.
We didn't see much of that movement from
Only
Stella
twice, I think.
in the game, in the final game, the game 3. Didn't have the Boots of Swiftness on her, which might have been
Yeah,
part of the reason.
Didn't quite get enough tools to move the Celecorn around early enough. But still, I mean, you got to work with what you got as Irelia. You can't always get the Celecorn dream of moving it every single game, especially 2 in a row. But I gotta say, Reagan, man, that's we both. I pivoted from Kai'Sa, you pivoted from Fiora. We both pivoted to Irelia. Irelia's out. It's gonna be Draven in the finals. Let's hear from the pilot themselves about their semifinals match.
Great cast for our first semifinals match. I'm joined with your first finalists that we are knowing. Koko, Lopez, congratulations on making finals, proving to everybody that we might still be in the League of Draven. How are you feeling right now?
Oh, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm obviously tired. It's been a super long day, right? Everybody's ready to get out of here, but I'm feeling good about the game. I'm playing well. Deck's doing good. I think the list is good, so I'm excited.
Yeah, absolutely. The Forerunners, right? You know, they're coming to you. You know, we're going to always be able to play these incredibly important cards, and you're definitely going to need it in the finals because I'm sure you're aware of who's on the other side of that bracket. We don't know the winner yet, as we have Alan's EQ against Prismaticism on the other side. But, I mean, if you had to pick one of those opponents for you to go against, what are you feeling right now in the moment?
I think if I got to choose who I play against, I'd probably pick Priz, as the Ezreal matchup is obviously is winnable, but it's not ideal. Alan has a lot of tools to beat Draven, in my opinion. I played him in the Swiss. It was my one draw, and it was rough. All 3 games were hard and grindy, and I haven't played versus Priz yet, so I'd like to see how that goes. But usually I think I'm good into Annie, so I'd much rather play into that than Ezreal.
Absolutely, and I think the biggest thing I want to ask too, as you know. On the team, of course, representing very well. Your team doing an incredibly job here. My biggest question to you is, for the people at home, making it to the finals, how much time did you have to put in perfecting this deck, making it as good as can be? And obviously you're playing out of your mind. How many hours do you think it took for you to be at this sort of level, potentially taking home the crown?
Man, infinite hours. I mean, you just have to put in hours every day. Thankfully, luckily, just like you said, I have a team who puts in an infinite hours, so even if I'm not putting in all the hours, I get so much help from them. The deck list obviously wasn't just mine. Daniel been working on it, Colin been working on it. Everybody's been putting their own piece on it. So obviously, everyone puts in a ton of effort, a ton of time, and hey, it rewards you, so it's good.
With great teamwork rises great stars, and our first star to shine on our final stage is going to be you, Koko. Congratulations. I'm looking forward to that match, but now take a well-deserved break.
Thank you.
Good luck. Sending it back.
Yep. Later.